It is Tuesday, the 30th of April, 2024. I'm Pigeon Rose, and this is my song of the day. Hello, and welcome back to Pigeon's Song of the Day. I'm Pigeon, of course. This is my little review show where I talk about a different song every day. I mentioned in the introductory episode that my plan for this show is to do it for a year, between my 29th birthday and my 30th birthday. And today, being the 30th of April, is my 29th birthday. Yippee! I'm ancient now. So because it's my birthday, I thought it would only make sense for me to talk about a song by my favorite band of all time, which is the Manchester band Elbow. The song I want to talk about in particular is the song Starlings, which is the first song on their 2008 album, The Seldom Seen Kid. It's their fourth album. This was the first album by them I heard, and the first song I heard by them by extension. And since then, they've become my favorite band. I've seen them in concert 7 times. I'm going to see them again an 8th time in July, I think. And yeah, I really like them a lot. Their style has evolved a lot over the years, though they're generally a rock band. Some of their albums are heavier, some of them are lighter. This is one of the lighter albums, really, although it does have Grounds for Divorce on it, which is a song by them that everyone knows that has a real killer riff. But it's one of the lighter albums, and this opening is really interesting. I usually would wait until after we listen to the song to talk about how I got into the song and stuff, but I want to talk about this beforehand because it's relevant. So my godfather recommended this album to my dad. Gave him the CD, said, listen to this. And me and my dad were in the car. I don't remember where we were going. We were going somewhere. And he was like, do you want to listen to this album that your godfather recommended? And I was like, nah, I'm just going to listen to my MP3 player. So I put in my headphones. I was like trying to pick a song my dad put on the album. And there's like this massive trumpet sound in the song. And that completely blasted over what I was listening to in my earphones. I was like, okay, this is interesting. I want to hear this. So I took the earphones off and we listened to the album and I loved it. And I just wanted to say that before we listen to the song because I want you to kind of think about if you're like half paying attention and this starts playing, how much it would grab your attention like it grabbed mine. So we're going to pause here now. We're going to go listen to the song and then come back and I'll talk about it. I really like that song. I think you understand now from listening to it if you didn't already know it. It's a great opening track for an album. This is something I'm going to talk about a lot on this show. I'm very specific about track listing on albums, about the order that things are played. There's some songs that need to be first, and there's some songs that need to be last. And there's some songs that work for both, but like there's some songs that just, it needs to be the opening of an album, and this is one of them. It's just the perfect opening. It starts with the pulsating, and then you build up with the drums just doing the boom, and you have the voices, and you have the gentle piano. Like, it's all so serene, and it's building up, and it makes this, like, lovely ambient cloud, and then it hits you with the beep. And yeah, this is what I was saying, is that you can tell why this caught my attention when I was, like, not listening to it. I was trying to listen to other music, and it just suddenly overpowered me, and I was like, I need to hear what's happening. So I take out my headphones, and then the second beep hits again, and I was like, what is this? What is that melody? But not just the brass thing going beep, but also the way it returns back to the quiet. It's like the note continues, but the volume changes and it's back to serene, and then it does the trumpet again, and it brings you into the lyrics. I love Guy Garvey's writing stuff. So Guy Garvey is the singer of Elbow, and he writes, I think, all of the lyrics, pretty sure. They all pretty much stick to their lanes in terms of what they write. You know, they write for their own instruments. I wish Craig Potter, the keyboardist, would stick to his lane, because he doesn't just write keyboard parts, he also writes transphobic things on Twitter, or he used to before he got banned. You can't win them all. But Guy Garvey's lyrical style, it can be very cynical. He has like some political songs, but it can also be very sweet. He has some very loving songs, particularly on like Little Fictions, which is an album we'll get to at some point, which is just him being very joyous about his new marriage and the fact that his wife is pregnant. It's really sweet and affectionate. This song is another affectionate song, but it ties into the cynical as well, and it's very witty, it's very dry, it's very, not sarcastic, but like self-deprecating, very much so. And I think it's a good introduction to his lyrical style as well, because you have that whole thing of, how dare the Premier ignore my invitations, like saying he's so important that the Prime Minister should go to his lunch, I guess. I assume it's go to his lunch because it's so to the bunch he luncheons with, right? But then he talks about that's not even a priority for him. At the top is stopping by your place of work and acting like I haven't dreamed of you and I, a marriage in an orange grove. The opening is like kind of a silly line, kind of like funny because it's so overblown. And then he's like, I need to show up to your work and pretend that I'm not deeply, madly in love with you. It's just it's a lovely turn. And then the next line, you are the only thing in any room you're ever in. I'm stubborn, selfish, and too old. One of my favorite lyrics ever. Again, just a great, like, you are the only thing in any room you're ever in is such a wonderful lyric of like, you're so special, you're so unique, you're so perfect. And then I'm stubborn, selfish, and too old. Just classic self-deprecation, like you're perfect and I'm not, but just so simply phrased. I love lyrics that are simple but effective. None of these are difficult words. It's not complex rhyme, but it's just, you get what he's saying. And then you have the whole, I sat you down and told you how the truest love that's ever found is for oneself. You pulled apart my theory with a weary and disinterested sigh, which is very much like, it's kind of playing into that then, the self-deprecation, him being like, oh, I love myself and that's the most important thing you can do. And her being like, I've heard it all before, Joe. Like it's kind of, the first verse gives you the self-deprecation, the second verse is like, I'm not going to put up with that, you don't need to think like that. And then the line, I'm asking you to back a horse that's good for glue and nothing else. My dad had to explain this one to me back in the day. It should be noted that when I started listening to Elbow, I would have been 13, so quite young. God, I was 13. What the fuck? But, to back a horse that's good for glue and nothing else, as in, like, supporting a horse only because they'll be useful after they're dead, in the same sense as he's kind of saying, like, I've always read this line as being about, like, a gold digger. The only way I'll be useful to you is if I'm dead, which is to say, after I'm gone, you can have my stuff. Do you get what I mean? That's always how I've kind of read it as. He's saying, I'm asking you to back a horse that's good for glue and nothing else. Like, I'm useless, but you might get something good out of the relationship after I'm gone. Find a man that's truer than, find a man that needs you more than I. And then it ends with this, sit with me a while and let me listen to you talk about your dreams and your obsessions. I'll be quiet and confessional. Again, just a lovely, I want to listen to you talk forever. And I'll be quiet and confessional is like, I'll keep a secret. This is between us. And then the violets explode inside me when I meet your eyes. Then I'm spinning and I'm diving like a cloud of starlings. So let's talk about the title of the song. They're famous for flying in a murmuration is what it's called, where they like fly in these massive coordinated flocks. There's just so many of them and they're moving in this weird way that it looks like a wave of water that someone has applied a bird filter to. Like, it's such a strange visual. You can find video of this on Wikipedia or just on YouTube. In fact, there's a YouTube video somewhere that someone did of footage of murmurations with this song playing over it. But it's just such a strange and surreal visual, but like weirdly beautiful. And this lyric here saying, I'm spinning and I'm diving like a cloud of starlings, like, something happens and I'm head over heels. And then the music picks up into that like fever pitch and everything's just noise and you hear like the glissando and like it's supposed to sound like a cloud of starlings, a murmuration of starlings. And it really does. If you listen to that specific part and you look at a video of starlings, you'll get it, you'll understand. And it's a great central simile for the feeling of being in love. This strange, beautiful, weird feeling of spinning and diving. I think it's such a wonderful sentiment. When I saw them live the first time, it was when they were on tour for this album in 2009, and they opened with this song and they had like the screen behind them playing a video of starlings flying around. It was really cool. It really fit really well, and I wish they would, because I've seen them live 7 times. They've played the song other times as well, but I think that was the only time they showed the video was on that tour. And I kind of wish they would do it again, but I understand why they don't. And then after that all dies down, you just get the very quiet, darling, is this love? I love how pared back and simple it is. Like, again, it's that contrast of like, because it's so bombastic beforehand, and then just a soft, darling, is this love? It's almost like he's talking to himself. He's like, am I that person? Am I really falling in love? And then you go back to the and it feels so triumphant. That's the thing about the song, is that it's not just like comparing the self-deprecation and the growing to love someone and the feeling of being head over heels, but it feels triumphant. When he says, darling, is this love? And the trumpets come back in, you're just like, fuck yeah, let's go. Like, it's so nice. It's such a lovely feeling. I really enjoy that. Another thing I want to talk about with regards to this, and this will come up a bit when I talk about Elbow, is they did a live performance, which was then released as an album and DVD, which my dad owns, with the BBC Concert Orchestra in Abbey Road. It's so cool hearing it with a live orchestra with a whole big string section and choir and everything. All the songs on it are great, especially the part where his voice cracks in Weather to Fly, because he can't do falsetto for too long. I'll definitely be talking about this concert when I talk about Grounds for Divorce, because the turns into the whole string section going dun 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 dun. It's great, but that's a story for another day. But this version of Starlings sounds much the same. It's just that the trumpets and the strings and everything is just so much more full sounding. There's just so much of it, and particularly the climactic, like a cloud of starlings. It's just so much going on. It's so cool. I'll be linking to that version in the description as well if you want to listen to it. And then I love that it just ends again on the quiet bit, just of the drum, just boom, 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 boom. It's just such a nonchalant ending, and I really like that. I don't think I have much else to say about this song, so that's it for today. I will be talking about Elbow plenty more in the year to come, because like I said, they're my favorite band. But I wanted to start with this one for my birthday and for this first week because, well, it's not my favorite Elbow song. It's a great introduction to them, I think, and it was my introduction to them, so why not center it there? Thanks so much for listening. I'll see you tomorrow.
Break it down.
Starlings are a type of bird, and they are famous for... Sorry, I've been listening to a lot of Secretly Incredibly Fascinating.